If you're gay or lesbian in Uganda, or if you identify as a member of the LGBTQ community, you're in deep trouble. Uganda has passed sweeping legislation that criminalizes homosexuality. Its parliament says homosexuality goes against the traditional values of Uganda. Being gay was already illegal in this East African country. Now, a wide array of activities seen as homosexual can also land people in jail, even get them killed. But why is Uganda acting so harshly against the LGBTQ community? And what does it mean to be gay in Africa? Also, is there any hope for Uganda's LGBTQ community? Here's a report.
In our country, we will have our morals. We will protect our children. And we are making this law. We are making this law for ourselves. We are making this law for our children. We are making this law for the children of our children. This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
Homosexuals have no space in Uganda. That was said by a lawmaker. You'd think that such rhetoric has no place in today's time. But this rhetoric is rampant in the country and in fact thrives in Uganda. In Parliament, Uganda's anti-homosexual legislation was celebrated with song and fervour. Lawmakers rejoiced as the Parliament passed laws criminalising same-sex relationships. In fact, even identifying as a gay or lesbian can now get people imprisoned for 20 years. The legislation makes it a duty for families, friends and members of the community to report homosexuals to authorities. There's a ban on promoting and abetting homosexuality. The law promises to act against the conspiracy to engage in same-sex activities. Perhaps the most radical provision is people engaging in aggravated acts of homosexuality will get a life sentence. That's if they're lucky. If not, they'll get the death penalty. What is an aggravated act of homosexuality? According to Uganda, it's when a person has sexual intercourse with a partner of the same sex or when either person is HIV positive. All but one member of the parliament spoke against the bill. The legislation hasn't become the law yet. For that, it would require the sign of President Yoweri Museveni. But that's a foregone conclusion. The man has opposed LGBTQ rights as a matter of principle. He's also called out the Western nations for putting pressure on Uganda over the issue. In 2013, the president signed a law that made gay sex punishable with life imprisonment. A court struck down that law, but it is now back with a much larger mandate. Life for the LGBTQ community is already incredibly difficult. In recent weeks, they have come under increasing attack. Last month, more than 110 people reported incidents including arrests, sexual violence, evictions and public undressing for being queer. This month, a teacher was arrested over accusations of grooming of young girls into unnatural sexual practices. And just 2 days ago, the police arrested 6 people accused of running a network that was actively involved in the grooming of young boys into acts of sodomy. Between 2017 and 2020, 195 people were charged for being gay. The near-unanimous support for the anti-gay legislation is reflective of the mood in Uganda. It's a deeply conservative Christian country. Homosexuality is a taboo. The people of Uganda support the latest legislation. And it's not an exception in Africa. Out of the 69 countries in the world that have laws criminalizing homosexuality, 32 are in Africa alone. So homophobia is deeply entrenched, which is why Uganda's legislation, no matter how radical, hardly comes as a surprise.